Welcome back, everybody, internet, the void, to the 11th episode of Warbound, a casual World of Warcraft podcast. My name is Aleris, and with me, per the usual, is Theo.
Yeah, welcome everyone. Hope everyone, at least for the few American viewers we had, enjoyed their Thanksgiving break. Maybe that meant you got a little bit of time to play WoW, or maybe you've not been playing WoW because of the holiday. But either way, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, we had to skip last week because Theo had an emergency.
Uh,
An emergency visit.
I wouldn't call it an emergency, but we won't get into
Unexpected
that.
visit.
An unexpected visit, which is not as fun as an unexpected journey. But
I'm feeling the season this year. I got my decked out Christmas transmog ready for WoW.
Mhm.
I was Mythic Plussing in it yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
where we grueled through yet another plus 10 Grim Batol. And yet again, utterly failed. I don't understand how you can clear nines with 12 minutes on a timer and then go into a 10 and get 60 deaths and not
Okay,
even close.
we didn't have 60 deaths. I think it was at like 30.
No, Grim Batol was 60.
Oh, it
I
was
mean,
60. Okay, well,
at some after the middle boss, right? We lost focus and just didn't care, and we
yeah.
we were dying to stuff we normally don't die to. Um, and then Blizzard says that that's okay, that that's expected, that that's what they want. But I disagree vehemently. But we've already gone down the Mythic Plus trail too many times. Um, I'm just still salty about it Monday morning after our usual weekly
After
dungeons.
our Sunday weekly dungeons,
Yeah.
yeah.
But what have you been doing in WoW, Theo?
Yeah. Honestly, not a whole lot of anything. I mean, with the holiday, one of the nights that I usually raid, now that I'm doing one night a week of Mythic, got canceled because that was on Thursday. Obviously, no one wanted to do Mythic raids on Thanksgiving. Um, and honestly, I'm kind of hitting that point where I don't really have much of a drive to log into retail anymore. And at least for this season. We've hit all our goals, KSM, yeah, KSM and AOTC. Uh, because of Mythic Plus, I don't have a desire to play alts. I did level all of the alts that I want. I got one of each healer to 60 through time walking. But now that I've completed that, honestly, I've been a classic Andy, both on normal classic with the anniversary realms, and then also getting a little bit back into hardcore. But that's kind of the cycle that I'm at. Is retail season's over. I'm still pumped for 11.0 or 11.1, but we'll see. We'll see. I just gotta kind of chill for the next couple of months on retail, I think.
You mean on class? Oh, you're gonna chill on that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna yeah stop playing as much retail, I think.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Christmas is coming up, as we just saw in our Mythic Plus chat. Like everyone's basically gonna be busy for the next
Hmm.
month, probably. So if there's a time to have a lull in the game, it's obviously the holidays is a good time.
Hmm.
Um, I know Siren Isle will be out like the 14th, I think, or something like that. Um,
What is before the new year?
I know it. I'm pretty sure 11.0.7 comes out before the new year, but that's like
Okay.
effectively alt catch up island and then the ring for
Okay. Yeah, and I
which
guess
they say is supposed to bridge the difficulty gap between this patch and the next, but I don't
the
remember
next.
there being in Dragonflight, I don't remember there being a difficulty problem.
Yeah, well, and but I
Between
do remember. Yeah, I
Razageth and
I do
Abras. Yeah.
I do remember there be them having to go in and nerf a bunch of the rings because they were like, oh, well, like when Abyss came out, they're like, oh, this ring is still going to be best in slot for people, even if they get heroic rings from Abyss. I don't know if that's going to be the same thing, and from what I've been hearing, I don't know if I'm just making this up, but I thought I remember hearing that that's actually kind of their intention, not necessarily for it to be Biss, but maybe for it to be something you use through all of your normal progression and replace it halfway through heroic or something like that.
I would like it
Um,
to last a little bit longer. I feel like I I got my ring, um, and I was basically like done with it. Like with it, like when we started heroic, I think I lost
mhm,
it. And or I think I upgraded it.
mhm.
Um, but I don't know. I wasn't doing Mythic Plus that season either, so I don't know. I would like for these rings to. Honestly, it would be cool if they lasted until um, the next patch. 11.2 or whatever, because I feel like that just makes more sense. Is that it's sort of just a ring to help get you started into 11.2, and then you just keep it for all of 11.2, because they're kind of a cool ability in a way. It's kind of like a sub legendary, like a semi legendary that's like
Yeah.
kind of unique. And obviously you're just going to go to WoW and pick whatever you want, which I have a conspiracy theory about with Classic. But um, obviously you're going to go to WoW and pick what they say, But uh, there is the potential for you to maybe pick what you want. I know with a lot of subclasses or a lot of hero talents, Wowhead will say, both are viable. One is slightly better, but both are viable. Like, you will do the amount of damage that is required to beat a heroic queen with this, hero talent. So I feel like there's obviously like gonna be gems or slots or whatever that synergize with your class the best, right? Or are obvious like tank or healing slots. But I think overall they could let it happen
Yeah,
and
and
happen a little bit longer, because it does feel like a legendary, and who knows when the next legendary comes and how crazy it's going to be to get, like Fyrax Axe was, and
yeah.
um,
Well, and
it's just
I
cool.
just remember like I did like the rings. I mean, I think we've already talked about this, but I think it's funny that they're literally just running back, 10.0.7. But I did like those rings, especially like as a healer that was playing a bunch of Mythic Plus back then, because I think it's really interesting when you have those rings that, like you mentioned, have very obvious tank, healer, and DPS uh, slots or gems that you're putting into them. But as a healer, then in Mythic Plus, then you have like the interesting game of like, okay, do I just run all three DPS? Do I have like one healing, two DPS? Like, how do I kind of synergize that and have it be fun? And I mean, that's my favorite part of Mythic Plus, healing. And it's funny, like I've always been a healer, mostly always been a healer in Mythic Plus, but my favorite times of an expansion are like post patch, once it's like kind of pretty easy, and you just go in on an alt and you heal a little bit, but then you're just blasting and you guys are just blowing through the dungeon. I'm hoping the rings are strong enough that kind of allows that to happen, because that's the point that we haven't hit yet in 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 the War Within. At every keystone, like unless you're just getting people that are super overgeared for like a +4, like if you're doing +7s and +8s, then you're pugging them. Those are not mind-numbingly like easy dungeons like they should be. They are things that you have to be locked in. You have to be paying attention. So I guess a long way to say, like, I'm hoping these rings are powerful enough that it does make
Yeah,
it,
I mean,
well,
we're
it kind
geared
of
to the
nerfs
teeth.
the
So
Mythic
when you
Plus.
say, you need to be locked in a +8. I'm like, I feel like I've been
Yeah,
locked in a
yeah. Well,
+8 for a
and
month
when
and a
I'm saying that,
half, you know?
yeah, when I'm saying that, I'm talking specifically about like what
A
if I was
pug
still playing
or an
retail,
alt.
it would be me on my alts because I mean, like I've mentioned before, I used to get KSM on all of my healers. I'm not doing that this patch because of the scaling. Maybe that's because KSM was too easy in the previous
Yeah,
because
the
they
healers need to go on
introduced
healer
that bit,
strike.
right? Yeah, I mean, hey, they were
Yeah.
able to get
Hey, at
what
least
was it?
everyone's not getting one shot anymore like Season 2 Mythic
Yeah,
Plus or whatever it was that
but
people were just like
yeah,
straight up. You
but
either avoided the mechanic or you died, and the
yeah.
healer couldn't do anything.
It would be cool to do that. I mean, because we did basically the community basically got Arcane deleted from the game with their protest. So maybe healers can just all say, you know what, we're not going to heal any Mythic Plus anymore until we finally do something to
Wait,
make healing enjoyable again.
what do you mean they got Arcane deleted from the game?
There was like a month ago or so, there was that whole protest thing where like Arcane was one of the best DPS specs in the game, and then Blizzard came out and said they were going to buff them by like 6%, and people started losing their minds. And I don't know if you were paying attention. I know you really go into the group finder much, but they were like people just spamming the group finder uh with a group name called Protest, basically making groups that were not looking to run dungeons. They were just saying protest because they're like sick of you know the tuning or something like that.
That's
And so
funny.
Blizzard responded and not only didn't do the buff, but then nerfed Arcane into the ground.
I should do
And I mean
that.
that's why the mage we play with he's switched to Frost is because Arcane is like not
While I'm a
playable anymore.
meta tank, I should be listing myself in a group finder with a
And it's some protest.
and just say
Yeah,
protest until Blizzard nerfs tens and
yeah,
just list a key and
right.
never accept
Yeah.
anyone. Um,
Yeah. But
that's
we're
funny.
getting back into the Mythic Plus hole. I
I
keep
know,
going on
I
and
know.
in.
It's
But
just it's just
well,
what we're kind of
yeah,
doing now. I mean, I've missed two
yeah,
raids in a row because of the holiday and
yeah.
other stuff, so I haven't touched Queen in 2 weeks or the raid at all in 2 weeks. And I mean, I guess we could start getting into. We're already halfway through the show. We haven't really said anything. um, we could
What
get
have you
into
been doing?
like
Have you been getting in Classic?
yeah, yeah. I'm level 27 on a paladin in classic. It's been fun to see as someone whose first character was Alliance, but it was kind of like in a time when we were still getting WoW set up in our household,
Mhm.
And then we like learned we needed 2 accounts and stuff like that, and then we switched servers to Bailgun. Um, so while Alliance was like the first classes we ever made, I believe you ended up staying with Alliance for a long time because your friends were all on like some PvP server and you were playing with them.
Yeah.
But I got like a dwarf hunter to like 35. So the only other classic Alliance character I've gotten is during Season of Mastery. With the
Mhm.
XP buff, I eventually decided to. We had made 2 night elves together, and I eventually broke off and just went to like level 40. But I haven't seen a lot of the Alliance side. And honestly, the human questing lines and human questing zones are just so good. Just
Oh
Elwyn to
yeah.
Westfall to Redridge to Darkshore to Duskwood
Duskwood.
feels so good.
Hmm.
And it falls off after that, I think. But the funny thing
Yeah.
is I'm just a horde player at heart. I've been in Stone Talon as an alliance, which is a ton of running and not efficient at all. But like I'm in
Oh yeah.
Stone Talon and Ashenvale, and I went over to Darkshore, and it's mostly because those areas have had less people.
Hmm.
Like obviously,
Oh yeah.
like the one
Redwood
to
was
ten zones have
insane.
been good with hyper spawns and stuff, but then I was with the mass as they moved into the 20s and 25s, and
Hmm.
you just get into these zones where if there's 3 people in these zones killing mobs, you run out of mobs to kill, and you're just
Hmm.
standing around, and that doesn't feel good. So,
Oh yeah.
but
Well,
Paladin's
you
been fun.
get
I've started healing in Classic for the first time. It's been fun. It's easy. It's it was funny because the guild I joined put out like a raid survey, and their raid nights are gonna be the same as my retail raid nights, so I'm not going to raid with them at all, but I wanted to fill one out anyway. And they asked for like previous raid experience, and I was like, I get AOTC every patch since Siege of Orgrimmar, and I've gotten the last
So
3 seasons of KSM. Like, I don't think
you're gonna log in. Yeah, you're gonna log in, and you're gonna find out that you no longer have a guild because they're gonna remove you. Because
no.
even though
They it's a
even
pretty chill guild. It's actually like totally full of paladins, which is kind of funny.
yeah,
That we're gonna end up with like ret DPSs and stuff. But
okay,
like classic is unfortunately like at the high end of it is just this like it's a speed running game now. You know, like the game's been out
yeah.
long enough that you're just speedrunning it. Like the it's like when I've been playing through the Warcraft 2 campaigns, and I take like maybe half an hour to do the missions, and they're a lot of fun. And even the latest one I did, I almost failed because of gold mine situations where I was running out of gold and not realizing it,
Hmm.
and gold mines were collapsing. And so um, then I watch a speedrunner do it after I beat the mission because I don't want it spoiled or whatever. And the speedrunners' strategies are so degenerate, you know, and so like unbelievably not glitchy or anything. Like there obviously are speedruns that do that and stuff, but these guys like it's like in Stardew, right, where you're speedrunning something, so you just go back to bed every
Hmm.
day for like 2 months just to get to fall or
Hmm.
whatever for whatever reason. You know,
Hmm.
like it's stuff like that where they like I guess the AI is a little janky, so they'll just land peasants in the enemy's base and start building a barracks, and the enemy will attack the barracks and not attack the peasant building the barracks, and then the ships behind them will just take out the enemy. Like it's like just these
Yeah, yeah,
ridiculous
things like that.
strategies
Yeah.
um, that I never would have thought of. But it's a fun game, honestly. Just like the sound design of classic and like Warcraft 2 and stuff is what and even retail, right? Just when you cast a spell and you hear the spell go off, it feels so good. You know, when you're hitting something with your hammer, it sounds like you're hitting something with a hammer. When you're playing Warcraft 2 and you know all the units are fighting, it sounds like a full on like battle, you know.
Yeah.
And like I know when I hit like my shield slam and stuff like that, like there's just this like ka-chunk, you know, that you hear, and it's so good. Um, my favorite is the whenever I hit any of my shouts on the warrior, my troll does the Jeb Bush meme look or
Yeah.
whatever, where his like arms are out and he's like looking up to the sky or whatever, and I just love that. I just love so I've been doing classic. I'm 27 now. I did BFD last night. Um, wiped once on the Twilight trash, which was like the cultist trash, is pretty wild and packed. And if the runners get away from you, they'll just pull everything.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, it's been fun. It's good. I'm also leveling a paladin in retail. I don't know if I'm gonna go warrior next patch. But then I do Mythic Plus on my prop warrior, and I don't think I could ever play Mythic Plus on anything else. Like it's just
Yeah.
so. And you heal me, so I don't know if you feel it, but I at least know in like an 8 or 9 that unless I turn around and have my back to a boss, I just don't. I feel like I don't take damage at all.
Yeah.
You know, except for like a bleed, right? Like the bleeds in Borealis or the Shadow Flame Dot in Grimbatol, right? And that was a +10, so I get just crushed on +10s. But
Yeah.
I just feel like on an 8 or 9, I will look at the health bars on a big ability and I see me at full and everyone else at half. You know, and I'm just like, well, at least I'm not taking damage. um, it's fun. It's fun. I just feel like an immovable object, you know, and it's a lot of fun to play prop warrior. But paladin, I can at least turn my back, And I think it's a similar mechanic in terms of like the shield block stuff, where I'm trying to keep a buff up as paladin that like increases my block chance and stuff. But I haven't gotten to max level with it or anything yet, so I don't know. But I'm probably not tanking raid because of just real life stuff, and I'll probably have to call off more in the middle of the week. So I don't know what I'm doing next patch. I don't know how Arms feels or Fury, but I have enjoyed the troll warrior life for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I like, because I like leveling like the 10 to 70 journey, like spamming time walking dungeons and bouncing around world quests and in the Dragon Isles and stuff. And just watching numbers go up. So I am leveling that paladin right now. I'm playing classic right now. Classic's just fun because there's people, right? Like I've played on a dead realm and it's not fun. Like I went back to classic era probably 2022, like just because it was a lull in retail, and just started like grinding cloth, and there was no one there, and I just was able to grind all this cloth, sell it for whatever I wanted on the auction house. There were enough people that they were buying it, like people were still buying cloth to do stuff. But it was kind of nice, and then like something happened in classic eras got a revival. I think they moved on to either Kata or it was the end of Wrath, and so people started coming back to classic era because they were like, well, I don't want to go on to Cataclysm, or whatever. And then all of a sudden there were like a ton of people. Oh, you know what it was? I think the Season of Mastery servers also merged. It was like kind of this perfect storm of everything happening at once. And all of a sudden there was life, and all my farming spots for cloth were just full of like alliance people just farming. And I was like, wow, okay. I'd rather have a dead game than no, I'm kidding. Obviously I want a light.
Yeah, I mean, when you're just leveling, it's actually almost better. You don't have mages going to your null spot where you're trying to do a quest and killing 20 things.
Oh
at
yeah,
a time.
I was dealing with that in the wetlands. Or everyone's just stacked around waiting for one named NPC to spawn. I mean, that's kind of my conspiracy theory, right? Is everywhere in Classic WoW you see rested XP, right? As the add-on, which I don't know how it happens, because I guess the loophole is that it is a free add-on up till level 20, and then you have to pay for it, which is against terms of service as far as I know, because you aren't allowed to pay for add-ons in Blizzard's terms of services. You can donate to people, obviously. You can run a Patreon, but you aren't allowed to have to pay for add-ons. So I don't know how Rested XP gets around that. Every freaking classic YouTuber is sponsored by them. They have the most obnoxious thing in the game where when someone levels, it then puts it in the emotes, right, of how fast it took them to level and whatever, which is obnoxious in the starting zones. And I have a bone to pick with them. I don't like them. And I actually feel like when I'm getting Rested XP ads on Wowhead next to a guide that says to do this thing, and then I scroll down to the Wowhead comments, and all of the comments are saying, why would you use this guide? This guide is garbage. You should be doing this as a Ret Paladin. Kind of makes me think. Just kind of makes me think. Is Wowhead putting out suboptimal leveling guides to slow people down so that then they go, oh, maybe I need Rested XP? You kind of have to wonder.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, I think there's the funny thing with classic WoW leveling is everyone's obsessed with this like time to kill, right? And it's not about time to kill at all. It's literally about, and this is why mage AoE farming is the thing to do, is because travel time is the killer of leveling speed. If you are running around all the time, it sucks. That's why hunters are the best levelers. That's why druids are the best levelers, because from 15 to 30 to 40, right, where it's a serious grind. From 30 to 40 is a real grind to get through before you get your mount. And if you can run 30% faster, that's 30% time off of your leveling time, straight up, because leveling time is like 80% walking. Your time to kill doesn't matter at that point. It's if you can run from point A to point B faster, you're gonna level faster.
Well, and that's why you see so many people that are in. It's going to be super annoying when you try getting into, especially for your case. I mean, I guess if you're healing, you'll be fine, but if you try to get into like a Scarlet Monastery run, if you're not a mage, you're not going to get. You're not allowed to run Scarlet Monastery because every single group is just saying, looking for,
speed level
tank and healer, looking for three.
Yeah,
three
we're gonna spam Cath
like
4 times or whatever up to instant, up to daily limit or whatever.
Yeah, which is the fastest way.
I haven't run into that yet, but like I said, the latest dungeon I've done is BFD. I feel like Alliance kind of gets away with not having to do SM. A lot of my guild is doing SM right now, but like,
well, I think it is.
Stocks is relevant to like 35. You can still get experience in there. It's like not that bad.
I think it's just because it's so easy to chain pull everything that you're still.
Those dungeons are packed with mobs, but it's good for gold stuff. I mean, if I switch to healing and get consecration, they're gonna love me, but I don't really care to boost that high. I feel like I just talked for like 20 minutes there, but
but I mean, it gets in those groups. As someone I did do those groups in regular classic. The first time around as a healer, and those groups are not fun to be in as a healer because you look at your second monitor for half of a second, you don't get a heal off for half of a second for some reason, and the tank just dies because there's so many mobs, being pulled. And then obviously, I mean, you know how classic players are, where if something goes wrong and you cause a wipe, then you get new racial slurs that you didn't even know existed being thrown at you. So it's just not a fun experience. I mean, I feel like the classic community, there's either one or two interactions. It's either the most wholesome and greatest interaction, which is I think the normal groups that are being put together.
Yeah. And then there's just this top level of like,
I do that meta. Yeah.
I have to be 60 as fast as possible. Like, bro, the raid's not out for another 10 days. What are you gonna do? Yeah. Why do you can go into Molten Core at 55, and groups will take you because you can at least hit mobs and do damage. Like, why do you care to get there that fast? I don't get it. Yeah. I don't get it. I understand that like AoE farming is probably fun, as a mage. Like it's probably fun to, especially on like hardcore servers, to pull 3, 4, 5 mobs and then blizzard them down, and have to blink away and frost nova and stuff like that. I'm sure it's fun, but I just don't get running the same dungeon over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
But we're basically out of time. There's not a lot going on in WoW right now, but 11.0.7 comes out soon, and maybe next week we look ahead to 11.1 a little bit more, and then maybe just... I think next week we'll do our season look back. I remember we ranked all the dungeons. We'll see if those rankings held true. So...
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks for coming, Theo.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me.
And thank you everyone else for listening. Like, favorite, subscribe for more episodes, and share it with someone else. Tell someone, hey, I listened to this pretty cool podcast. These two guys talked about literally nothing for 30 minutes. But it was only 30 minutes long, so that's pretty cool.
Second monitor content
while you're leveling in Classic. or waiting in a heroic queue for time walking. Whatever.
Or not getting invited to Mythic Plus because you're not meta spec.
Yeah. All
Whatever
right.
you're doing to waste time.
Till next week. See ya.